If you can hear me, clap one time. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. Thank you so much. Thank you again, and welcome to the afternoon session. And this afternoon is quite unique. Right? What makes our afternoon unique? I'm going to come close to you and ask you. Okay. What makes this afternoon unique is amazingly the discussion about AI, assistive technology. We're not going to do another panel. We've done it. Panel is great. I'm not saying panel is not good. We're not going to do another innovation showcase. We've done it. Okay. It was great. We're not going to do a lecture on AI, right? Should we? We're going to serve all in one, blended. We will learn. We will challenge. We will innovate together. We'll be hearing from innovation pitches. We will be hearing about high-end assistive technology, AI. And it's not only just the high-end, but how can we make sure that the high-end is delivered? I'm not sure if we have to say free. I'm not a big free fan. I believe in affordability. Because in business, sustainability comes with cost recovery, right? So how can we make sure that the power of AI is going to take us to ensuring that removing barriers to everyone? Great. And now in the 90 minutes interaction, we will have such a distinguished team of experts, team of innovators, shark and tank. This is going to be your amazing opportunity to bring the industry leaders together to refine and challenge the innovators. How we can really deliver a better world together for everyone using AI and assistive technology. So to do that, I have the honor and the privilege to invite an amazing person in this room, LaVonne Roberts, the CEO of Scott Morgan Foundations USA. Can you please join me in really inviting LaVonne Roberts? Thank you so much, LaVonne Roberts, for joining us and really being able to really share this fantastic all-in-one where quite so many questions will be answered, but also we'll have more questions, right? We will never leave this room without questions because that's how innovation continues. I would kindly want you to introduce your amazing esteemed speakers, and we've got 90 minutes to go on. The floor is yours, LaVonne.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, everyone. I'm LaVonne Roberts. As mentioned, I am the Executive Director and the CEO of the Scott Morgan Foundation USA. And I am a 61-year-old young woman wearing black, brown hair, highlighted hair, a little bit longer than shoulder length, and some very sparkly shoes to go with today. One thing I'd like to do is ask anyone that's here connected to the Scott Morgan Foundation, whether you're a collaborator, a partner, to please stand up if you can. Just let it be known that you're here. Because I'm about to tell you a story of how we all got here. A year ago, I was here for the first time at Zero Project, and really probably like all of you, and especially some of you who have been here many times, blown away with the synergy and what happened. And I started trying to think, what can I do to give back to this community, to become a part of this community? And several conversations later, there was a young woman, and I was working with Lenovo. There was a young woman, 23 years old, diagnosed with ALS. And it was interesting, we were working on a project with a very hyper-realistic avatar, and her mother, a single mother, the mother of Aaron Taylor, who you guys may have heard about and you're going to learn more about later, told me something that really stuck with me, and it stuck in a deep and meaningful way because she's a single mother, as I am. My daughter is out there as well. And she said how grateful she was. She was moved, she was in tears, and she said, I can't imagine that people who are not disabled are doing this for my daughter. And then she said one more thing, and this is the part that stuck with me. She said, we're so grateful, but that avatar doesn't really capture Aaron's smile. What can we do? So I was at Zero Project, and at the Scott Morgan Foundation, we have a habit of looking for the best in class anywhere, putting it together and collaborating. I got on a plane and went to Mobile World Congress. And I went to go see DID, and you'll soon meet and learn more about Matthew down there. And my conversations, and this is where I want to turn around and talk about how together we're so much stronger. I'm here because Andrew Morgan, I'm hoping he'll stand up. He is our founder's nephew. And all of these people that are part of our team that make it possible, we got on a plane and we went to Barcelona to talk to DID, and we did what we do. We wanted to get in there and understand the technology. What are we going to do to make this scalable? How can we get closer to that smile? It was that simple for us. So we did all of that. We then had several other technologies, many who are in the room, including SmartBox, including EarSwitch. You're going to hear from them and see in different ways. And I went back to North Carolina with my team helping in a massive way and presented to Lenovo. And from the beginning, rather than putting any one technology together, we brought many of them together in the room and we presented. And we took a model, which was, and it is interesting with Zero Project, another reason that we felt that we shared the same ethos. What can we do to remove barriers when we go into a device maker to make it impossible to say no? And we're very much those people. What do we do to make it impossible to say no? So we walked in the door and said, we're going to come to you with solutions because every device in the world should have an accessibility package. And we went to the largest device maker in the world who makes 60 million devices a year and said in each and every case, we've got a basic model that you can put on there that will cost you nothing, and it's a model that you understand well, which can scale up. So we're helping everyone. In doing all of that, we also learned that we needed to create a set of standards to be able to have these technologies plug and play. And so it wasn't just that we were looking for best in class, it was also that we were looking for people in companies like SmartBox, who were best in class in their particular category, and were willing to work with a consortium of people. We also took that group, just about everyone in the list, I'm happy to say 11 people, and put them into NVIDIA's Inception program. Some were already there and were founding members like DID, like 11 Labs, who you might have heard of. And we started to grow and have a sense of strength there. I also want to go back for 2 seconds and tell you just a tiny bit about me. I am old enough up here to have co-founded the very first internet companies, Generation 1. And I really want you to hear this message because I do remember a point in time which reminds me very much of today, when I not only knew the internet was coming, but it started out with a small circle of people that understood the power, the scalability, and how it would change our world. And I remember going back that far and being in a room and having people argue with me that absolutely not, the CD-ROM was going nowhere. But there was an inner circle that understood that. And in that inner circle, it reminds me very much of today, even going back 2 years ago. There's been a group of us that know the power of AI and what it's capable of doing, how it can help us scale, how we can leverage it together. So I feel like we're at this inflection point again. I also ran a hedge fund, and in doing that, I began to look at the entire ecosystem, which is definitely, as a team and a foundation, what we started to do. How do we get some of these players to come together where we can be in a position to come, put these technologies together and get them to share? So I'm really happy to tell you that from that conversation 1 year ago, going to Barcelona DID, which I'm sorry, I want to pause, because I think it's really important to every single person that's pitching and to everyone in this room to understand that you could be up here in any of these seats, and also for everyone up on this stage to understand what you can do with this, what you can take with it, and I hope maybe provide a little bit of inspiration. Anyhow, I'm very happy to show you, since we went to Barcelona, I told you about Aaron. We tend to do these proof of concepts where we push the limits with every single company to show what's possible. I'll add one other thing. You know, we all have our aha moments. I came from a tech world. I came from finance. And my aha moment in the assistive tech world was, all this engineering exists. It just doesn't work together. That was an aha moment, and you know, what happens when you put the power of all of us together where it's not just one solution? So I'd like to show you this video, and in showing this video, keep in mind I was here 1 year ago as your guest, and I want to show you what we've done in the last year in putting our partners together.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you
Today,
are.
I can speak to my kids. I can sing them a lullaby. I can read them a story. And I can tell them I love them. But soon, ALS will take my voice.
The ability for us to sing lullabies and tell stories allows us to create an emotional connection with our loved ones.
I think a parent's voice is really vital for the relationship.
ALS is a neurodegenerative disease that causes people to lose their motor function and ability to speak. There is no known cure. Artificial intelligence is a game changer. When IMR wants to speak, he uses his eyes to select pre-selected words on a circular keyboard. He can then output those words using his own generated AI voice.
My avatar is almost as handsome as I am.
He can choose to hear and see his words spoken by a hyper-realistic avatar.
The giant woke up from his slumber and shouted, "Fee, fi, fo, fum!" Jack started climbing down the beanstalk as fast as he could, and the giant chased him.
Our motivation for Smarter AI for All is to empower all of us to use the technology to make our worlds better.
Technology is my best hope. And with the advances of AI, I have a chance to sing happy birthday to my children for many years to come, and possibly even toast at their weddings.
Thank you very much. So I wanted to add just a couple things. I don't want to make this about me because I am here because of all of these people, this phenomenal team that we have. But I think it's really important that we show stories, success stories. Many of you sitting up here have plenty of your own, but we show what's possible. The company that I helped found, we had an IPO, a secondary. I retired at 35, and I thought I was going to be raising kids. And I think everyone probably understands very well, once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. So this is a space that's very comfortable for me. I think as a nonprofit, we're very, very unusual in that we move and pivot quickly to be able to work with so many startups. And as you know, going back to AI, the acceleration is crazy. And I hope you're going to start to get a sense, of what's possible. It could be you, any of you. If you want to be up here, you're going to see some success stories. And let's connect the dots. So I am going to ask our panelists if they wouldn't mind, one by one, to introduce themselves. And feel free to take a minute and explain also your connection to Zero Project. If you have one, your reflections. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Matthew Kershaw. I'm the VP Strategy at DID. And this is my first year at ZeroCon. So I'm like just taking it all in. What an incredible conference, incredible vibe, so much positivity, and so much good work and good conversations going on. So thank you for hosting me anyway.
Hello everyone, my name is Ian McKinnon. I am the CEO of an organisation called the Global Disability Innovation Hub, GDI Hub. If reflecting on my Zero project history, I probably consider the veteran these days. I think I first came to Zero 2017 or 2018, and I would be doubtful, I could be corrected, but I'd be doubtful if AI featured on any of the panel sessions back then, so it's quite interesting to see how things change and shift over time. But yeah, for me, really, a strong relationship with Zero Project, because we also, collaborations, partnership working is everything, really, that we do at GDI Hub. It's all about partnerships. And so the power of Zero Project, its convening power and the network that it's established over the past decade to 15 years is exceptional. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be back again. And yeah, thanks.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Calvin Crosland. I'm with Lenovo, and I have 3.5 roles with Lenovo. I'm Vice President of Human Resources for our corporate functions. I'm our Chief Diversity Officer, and I'm the President of our foundation, so all of our philanthropic activity. Now, why I say I have 3.5 jobs is half of my job is really not part of my formal responsibilities, but I have the privilege of being one of the executive sponsors for our Product Diversity Office, which is responsible for the diversity and accessibility in our products. This is my first time to the conference, and I have to thank you, LaVonne, for inviting me and telling me how wonderful it was from your experiences. And I've seen the same thing. There's an incredible vibe, incredible energy, incredibly bright people who are very, very focused on innovation and making sure that the technologies and the products that there are out there, that there's collaboration so that we have one solution versus multiple. So very happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Howard Taylor. I'm a director at PwC based out of London. I lead a lot of our work these days on customer inclusion and how we build inclusive operating models with our clients so that people like many of you here today at the Zero Project can use a service without having to worry or think about your disability or other needs, and that we really encourage the world to adopt a needs-first-led approach to how those things are done. I think the power in the Zero Project and the ZeroCon this year, and presumably in the previous years, it's my first time, so thanks very much for the invitation, is to try and bring together all these great ideas and work out together how we can bring both joy in building inclusive technology, but also how we can take this and make it more powerful and adopt it into really big, scalable solutions that mean that many people who don't have the privilege to be here can benefit from what we do.
Hello everyone, my name is Michal Obložinský. I'm CEO of the company called Deafcom.
Sorry, I'm so sorry for interrupting you. Yeah. I am going to have you introduce yourself, but I'm going to take the panel.
Okay.
I'm going to take the panel first, and we're going to ask a few questions and have a chat and an opening, and then I'm super excited about you starting. So, like I said, we have a powerhouse of talent up here, and I think, again, there's so much to learn from this group in so many different ways. The first question I'd like to ask all of you, and take your time and feel comfortable and casual, what's the biggest barrier to making AI-powered assistive technology accessible to all, regardless of economic or geographic constraints, and how can we overcome it?
I'm happy to take that. So much of, we're an AI-based company, and nearly everything we do happens in the cloud. There's some, amazing new technology. Well, I say new, has been with us for a number of years, but it's incredibly powerful how it works. The issue is it's very much a kind of developed market technology. You need really good internet access, and actually the cost of generating videos using that cloud space is quite high. I think the biggest breakthrough we're going to see in the next, say, year or two is the ability to take that out of the cloud and put it onto your device, put it onto your smartphone, onto your laptop, wherever that may be, maybe your smart TV, so in a way that you don't need to access the internet, and the cost of it happens, it's your own chips in your own phone that are doing the processing. What that will do is it will radically decrease the cost and also put it in the hands of millions and millions of people around the world who maybe don't have great internet access. So that's where I think this whole thing is going, is on device, what they call it, on device or on board technology for AI.
So I guess for me, thinking about the potential barriers to making the technology accessible, I think for me, there's one part is making the technology accessible, but then there's also making sure that there's an inclusive process towards what technology we're creating, I think. And so rather than seeing a barrier to access to tech, I would go a step further back and actually make sure the tech that we're creating is influenced by everyone and people, and you're actually therefore creating tech that people want and need. And almost by default, I think if you follow that inclusive design process throughout, then I would argue that the end product should almost by default become accessible. So I think that can be a challenge sometimes, I think, and therefore a barrier in its own right, because I think there can be a tendency to get quite carried away with the potential and the opportunities, which is great. Like that's a great thing. But I think it's also important at times just to take stock a little bit, pause and actually consider what do people really want, what do people really need, and make sure that you're channeling your energy to those points, I would say.
I'll take a crack at this. Hello, I'm Troy Otillio. I'm the CEO of Aira Tech Corp. We serve people who are blind and low vision, and also people now who are deaf or want to communicate with ASL. And the company was founded 10 years ago.
I'm so sorry, guys. So that we're having, just so you know, because we're going to definitely get a time. So our 4 panelists are going to answer.
Okay.
Anyhow, and you know this better than anyone that I know. This is what happens as an entrepreneur. We pivot, we make it work. It's exciting and definitely building up to this moment. So these 4 gentlemen are going to answer the next 2 questions after this one, and then we're going to move straight into pitching. So thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, LaVonne. So, our vision is smarter technology for all, and we mean for all. And so I think it's an integration of technology and compatible ecosystems. But I think our challenge or our barrier that you just mentioned before is that of making sure that this is part of our culture. I think a lot of people think about this subject as compliance, and what we really want to do is embed this as part of our culture and make sure that our design and our engineering teams are thinking about this at the very front end of the phase of designing and developing that technology. And I think another very important point that Ian hit on is listening, right? Listening to people and what their real needs are and what their pain points are. And one of the things I mentioned before about my half a job with the Product Diversity Office, that's exactly what they do, right? Is they have accessibility designers that work on both the diversity and the accessibility of our products, and making sure that our designers and our engineers think about that early in that process.
I think probably 2 things for me in answering that question. One is, I think we need to help customers understand how they use the technology to get the best from it. And by that I mean, how does the technology fit into the broader human and social ecosystem in which they live, and how does it apply to their day-to-day lives? And I think AI is, at the moment, quite a buzzword, but actually we need to break it down and work out what those use cases are and explain and explore how those things are adopted. And the second thing is, I think connected, there's a trust and ethics question that we need to continue to work through in building that trust with the technology, particularly for people who are actually slightly older in the spectrum, because actually we've seen that with other technologies as they've been adopted, there's a definite trust issue, so that needs to be resolved. And I think there needs to be some further thought given to how ethical guardrails are put in place so that consumers with needs don't feel like they're being put at a disadvantage because they're using technology. I think those things are coming, and I think AI has huge potential, and I'm so excited by what it will bring, but that human aspect of how the human in the loop, if you call it that, fits in, I think will become really important.
Thank you. I'd like to ask another question. How can we ensure that innovative assistive technologies like those we'll see pitched today move from serving privileged early adopters to becoming universally available solutions? I'd like to start again.
Yeah, so I think this is a critical question. I think the answer is with large organizations like Lenovo, because they have this ability to take a tech and put it in the hands of millions or even billions of people. So I think for me it's it's great to have early adopters and trial stuff, but when the rubber really hits the road is when it's put into mainstream devices and mainstream type environments.
I think for me, I reflect on AT more broadly, I think, and certainly some of the work and research we've been doing at GDI Hub over the past few years through a big program called AT 2030 has been looking at this. And increasingly now, obviously, the impact that AI is going to have on AT. But I think, both looking at it from a top-down approach and a bottom-up approach. So from a top-down, making sure that you're raising awareness about the opportunities, about what's coming, that governments and procurement systems are kind of ready for that, and working with partners like AT Scale, who are here, and WHO, UNICEF and others, that's a really important part in terms of the top-down landscape. But then also from a bottom-up grassroots landscape, I think in terms of democratizing it, it's supporting local entrepreneurs, local innovators, and clearly that's a big focus of Zero Project, and bringing those local innovators and entrepreneurs together to have this platform. So that's continuing that support will be really important.
Yeah, Matthew, I have to agree. I think what part of it is exactly what you described, is having the assistive technology on the device so that you have to have additional devices and additional solutions. So I think that's number one. I think the other piece is listening, again, to what people's pain points are and what they really need, and doing user testing to develop those solutions, and also partnering and collaborating with others, right? You don't have to develop everything yourself. I think if you have good, strong partnerships and strong collaboration, you don't have to invent technology from the beginning. So I think those are all important functions.
I think we have to think about how we move it into the mass market. And I think that means looking beyond people with needs and disabilities and actually looking at the broader use cases that could be adopted, because I think that will inevitably bring down the cost of production, will help promote the benefit of the technology across, and will hopefully normalize disability and meeting disabled people's and consumers' needs, so that actually when they go to the store and they buy something, it's beautiful, it's designed well, they want to have it because it's cool. They don't just want to have it because it meets their needs, but it does both things.
So I'm going to ask a final question and let you gentlemen, you four here, know we have 3 minutes left, and on my show, we're staying on time. I'm going to also apologize again. I'm extremely excited about you guys starting down there, and I'm going to help you with the monitor to make sure we stay on schedule and you get the time that you deserve. So my last question, and again, I ask you guys to please think about a shorter answer. Looking at the startups pitching today, what's one piece of advice you'd offer them about successfully scaling their solutions to reach those who need them most?
Wow, that's a tough question to answer very quickly, but I would say, just echoing some of the points made earlier, it's like, really do your research, talk to the users, really find out where their pain points and their needs are. And if you get that right, scaling will happen. It'll just happen.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think scaling, it's really difficult, right? I mean, we're working in this space on AT as well, and trying to support the scaling, and it's hard, and there's very good reasons that it's hard. But I guess never lose sight of the impact that you want to have. You know, really keep that forefront as what is the impact that I want to have with my product or service, but also my business, because you're growing both, right? And then also is feeling, I mean, this is easier said than done, but feel empowered to say no to things. And that's something that we've learned as a business ourselves. When you're starting up and you're new and you're scaling, it's so easy to just be swept up in it all, and you need help and support, and you can often just say yes to everything, even sometimes the wrong things. So feel empowered and to say no.
Yeah, LaVonne, I think you touched on it earlier when you talked about your journey over the last year, and I really think it's around collaboration and building partnerships, right? And I think also, Howard, you hit on it, which is very, very important, is what is the broader application, right? And can you make some of this stuff cool? And it's just not compliance, just not something for a particular audience, but is there a broader application? So that's something I would encourage people to think about as they do their testing and they do their market research.
I think two things for me very quickly. One, always ask for help. Nobody's perfect. Nobody gets things right first time. Things fail. You learn from them and you move on. So ask for help. Too many of the startups I've dealt with over the last few years don't ask for help quick enough. And two is don't let the great be the enemy of the good, in that perfection is awesome, but actually trying to get something to market, testing it, trying to make some money out of it, or however you're doing it, so that you get that kind of consistency is really important. So pragmatism is probably the overall word for that.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to have a large, robust round of applause for these gentlemen coming up here and being with us. And I'm going to turn this over to you guys to get started.
LaVonne, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here for the invitation of both Zero Project and Scott Morgan's Foundation. I'm Paweł Potakowski. I'm a tall man with a blonde hair and glasses, and I'm delighted that I'm here. And you need to know that it's very difficult to answer why AI is so important for deaf people to communicate. But when you saw this video that LaVonne has shown, I could say you imagine that deaf people could make the same thing to you. They will use sign language, and you will hear their voice thanks to the device. This is what we are fighting for and what we are struggling for. I could say about how difficult it is to build such smart device with 1.4 billion connection inside, with a great accuracy of the interpretation. But I believe that the thing that our colleague from DID said, it's the most important part. We already check and we are already working for a possibility to scale our solution down, to make it work on any device without connection to the internet. This is what we are fighting for in Migam AI, to have an opportunity, to have an interpreter in any moment that you need without the need of asking a live person to be an interpreter for you. And what we need to do it, we of course need a proprietary data set. We need videos which our sign language model could analyze. We've built a genius model inside just for analyze and understood the grammar structure of the sign languages. And you know what? We put everything inside a wonderful Unreal Engine meta-human rendering pipeline just to show that everything works in a proper way. If you got 52 blend shapes of emotion on your face, the avatar need to have the same opportunity. And if you like to check about it, contact with me directly. And also with 3 of my colleagues that we are now at Zero Project Conference. Our booth is just in front of this room. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Troy Otillio. I'm the CEO of Aira Tech Corp. On Sunday, I flew here from San Diego, but this is my first Project Zero. Thank you for being an award winner. It will not be my last. I'm so excited. And if you remember nothing else, I'm just looking to connect with people in the accessibility space. But I'm going to share a little bit about Aira, and hopefully that'll make it more clear about what we do and why we should talk. So we help people say yes to accessibility. Aira's been around for 10 years. Aira stands for Artificial Intelligence Remote Assistance. AI was not ready 10 years ago, even though that was our vision. So we also employ humans, so humans to connect to someone who's blind and low vision and give them visual information. Now we have AI. Love to talk more about that, but we don't have the time. But ultimately, AI is a game changer because of what it can do, the cost, and how it scales. We have 2 services. The one that we've been developing for 10 years is on the left. It serves people who are blind and low vision. We're on all kinds of devices, including I'm holding up the Meta Ray-Ban. If you don't know about these, they're pretty fantastic. Recently, we decided to also include services for people who are deaf to connect in real time and with an interpreter so that communication can happen anywhere. And our platform runs 24/7. We answer calls in 5 seconds. It's all about scaling. And the results of all this, next, is an on-demand solution. And that really reduces the friction and makes it easy to use and something that you can incorporate in daily life. I really would like to meet people who are interested to hear more. We want to bring Aira worldwide, but to do that, we build with the community, not for the community. I believe that our service needs to be localized in country. I don't think we can use the agents that exist in the US to serve places here or abroad. And so we're looking for partners who can engage us on helping with that vision. Thank you so much.
So, hello everybody. I'm from the company called Deafcom. what we are doing, we are creating the solution, thank you, we are creating the solution and platform for the video relay service and video remote interpretation providers. We are creating the platform which is making possible for any organization around the world which is offering online sign language interpretation to provide the service in the highest quality. Thanks to our platform, our partners are able to provide to the dev the solution which the dev needs and which respect the dev needs. With our solution, any organization which is offering online sign language interpretation can bring possibility for the dev user to make call, income call, have immediate access to sign language interpreters. The solution offers the specialist interface for interpreters where we increase the efficiency of the interpreters, which is very important in many countries where there is a huge shortage of the sign language interpreters. And everything is done together within one system where all of the data are secure, all reportings are automatically created, and additional part of our solution is solution for public and private institutions where service providers who are offering online sign language interpretation can by one click make any of the institution by 2 clicks available for the dev. We processed over 30,000 interpreting sessions during last year, and the future in 2025, we know that we will be processing over 100,000. If everything goes well, we will be very soon in 1 million. So this is Deafcom. Thank you very much for your attention, and happy to meet you here.
Ian, would you mind giving us your thoughts, reflections, suggestions, something for each of the technologies and the gentlemen that are up here?
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, I wouldn't claim to be able to offer you any specific guidance or support. You guys are the experts, right? But I'll maybe just ask a couple of questions, and this will also allow you each to elaborate a little more on your products and your services and say a little more to the room and make the most of the platform that you've got. So if I take you each in turn, so Paweł from Migam, thank you so much for your presentation. Again, really interesting to hear what you're doing, looking at the translations of multiple sign languages into written and spoken language. I'm genuinely interested in the challenges that's presented. So in translating different sign languages, keen to know what you learned that was unexpected in doing that. Was there anything that came through in comparing or any challenges that came through in having to consider different sign languages that you hadn't expected? For example, kind of cultural context and things perhaps that came through. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind expanding on that.
Ian, thank you very much for this question. You need to know that probably the biggest struggle is just to collect the videos to prepare the data sets. It's not a problem of the different cultural heritage which is inside of each sign language. The problem is to gather the data, enough data to prepare material to put inside the AI magic box. We understood how important it is to involve deaf people into the process that we are making. We as a company based in Poland, we are 44 people with 19 people included deaf. And also additional people who are child of deaf adult or siblings of deaf adult. So we really understood how important it is to make those things with their involvement. Other challenges? Scaling up at first just to grow and then down to prepare it working on any kind of device. This is what we are doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's great. Troy, if I could move on to you, please. Thank you again so much for your presentation on Aira, looking at providing remote visual interpreting for visually impaired users. It's great. One of the things that I had a look at the service you offer and the website and everything, and you, importantly, you talk about how important the security is and making sure that the data that you collect and the information that people are sharing on these calls is secure. So I just wondered again, how difficult that was to provide, and how you found negotiating the regulations and things in this new area, if that's been really challenging, or if you've managed to navigate that yourselves, particularly well. Thanks.
If my team was listening, they're like, oh, what a softball. Troy loves talking about security and privacy. Yeah. In part, it comes from my prior experience. I worked at Intuit in the United States. They do all the taxes. They do QuickBooks, and security, privacy, and trust are a religion. And it's not easy because you have to invest in standards and approaches that ensure you meet compliance requirements, ensure that you are protecting your customers' data. It also means that you're very clear about the consent and not using language that no one can understand. Because if you don't trust the service, you're not going to use it. And I think especially in this space of disability, and where I think there is some vulnerabilities, our job is to protect and keep that data confidential. Therefore, we support standards like GDPR. If you're aware of HIPAA, which is a compliance for working with personal and identifiable information, especially in the healthcare. So it's a longer story, but we just deploy a lot of systems you would find at banks or other large companies that take data and privacy very seriously, and making sure we communicate to the individuals about what they're consenting to, and there's no, and we're very clear and transparent. Oh, and one more thing, if you are going to scale and you're going to work with corporations, it is the requirement, right? So often as a startup, you focus on nailing the first experience, you focus on things that really are for the user, but if you're going to work with governments and organizations, you need to meet a deep standard of data privacy, of security, which then leads to trust. And I'm happy to share offline like what that looks like at Aira.
So I thank you so much for that. That's great. Okay, and finally moving across to Sarka from Deafcom. Again, thank you so much for your presentation. It was great to hear that. Again, you're working on software, supporting phone calls and communication for people who are deaf or have a hearing impairment. You mentioned you're now operating across, I think it was 9 European countries. So again, just to touch on what Troy mentioned there as well about scale. So now that you're across 9 countries, just wondering, again, for you, what that experience has been like to grow across those different countries, and what you've learned from that experience that will help you to scale even further.
Yeah, so we are right now in 9 countries. Basically, how we are able to get there is that we always cooperate with the local communities of the deaf and sign language interpreters, and we are providing them platform and empowering them to really create the great service which can serve the deaf community. Because we understand that we would be always outsiders, and for us it would be, we would never be able to understand their needs in like such a deep detail like they are able to. We work with the organizations which offering sign language interpretation for the deaf community for 10 years, and for us to go to other countries, it's basically we will keep working with the local communities, and the key success factor is to find the right dev leaders and the right people who are able to run such a service, where we can provide the additional value with our platform.
Thank you so much, and I think we're perfectly on time, so I'll hand back to you.
Amazing. I want to thank you all for being so flexible and jumping with me from panel to that, but hopefully also the audience can understand the format a little bit better, and we're going to switch to our next 3. And sorry, can we please have a very loud round of applause? I'd also like to say I was struck yesterday watching this with how many people maybe English is not their first language, and they're up here doing a phenomenal job making this very clear to us. So thank you for being here and encouraging these panelists. Excuse me.
Let's turn this on. Do you mind if I put it in the back side of the pocket?
Ready? Gentlemen, ready to get going?
Me. Okay. Hello, I'm Jussi Kujanpää. I'm the founder and managing director of Quha. Sorry, can't see the slides. Okay. Sorry. How can I get it from beginning? Is it this one? Okay. Sorry for that. So let's start over. So, hello everyone. My name is Jussi Kujanpää, and I'm the founder and managing director of Quha from Finland. I'm proud to be here to present you Quha Zono head mouse, our latest innovation that helps people with severe disabilities to use modern devices like computers, tablets, and smartphones. In Quha, we have been developing assistive technology since 2012. And with one clear target that we want to create a mouse that is easy to use even for people with severe physical limitations. And to achieve this, we selected gyroscope as the core sensor element. And in year 2013, we introduced the world's first gyroscopic assistive mouse, Quha Zono. Based on years of user experience, we developed Quha Zono X mouse that you can see on the photo. The woman is wearing it on her right ear. So Quha Zono X is a small, tiny, lightweight mouse that's easy to use, and it has Bluetooth connection, so it's easy to connect to computers, tablets, smartphones. So key features of Quha Zono are, or Zono X are. So it's easy to set up, get ready in a few minutes, no complex settings. It's intuitive to use. User uses their head to move the cursor very intuitively, and it offers high precision. It has also some special features that are unique to Zono X. It has a hands-free gesture control for common mouse functions like scrolling and pausing, multi-device connection to control up to 4 devices, and tremor filter to reduce the unwanted user head movements to maintain the accuracy. And it also has Quadwell 2 software for hands-free clicking.
Let's see if we can wrap this up a little bit,
Yes.
just so we stay on time.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. So.
Let me take a few seconds and close.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. So, most importantly, it changes lives. So, in the picture, there's a Veli Tarvainen, the graphic designer, who was paralyzed in a car accident. So now he's able to continue his career thanks to Quha Zono. Now, we are now focused on global extension, strengthening partnerships with caregivers, healthcare professionals, and accessibility organizations. And also, based on the user feedback that we are receiving, continuing to develop and innovate our products. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions or collaboration, so please contact me later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Carmen Suárez-Figueroa. I'm coming from the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid. I'm a senior researcher and also a lecturer in that university. And one of the most important things I think in the life is that we understand tests around us. So tests that are in newspapers, tests that are in travel guides and these kind of things. However, we know that there are people with reading comprehension problems that cannot understand those tests. For this reason, we start to research into this tool called ATECA, Adaptation of Spanish Tests. This tool is a support for experts in easy-to-read methodology. The easy-to-read methodology provides guidelines for doing tests in an easy way, and this ATECA tool is following the easy-to-read methodology. The tool is inside of a family called Facile family. Facile means easy in Italian, and we focus on accessibility, in particular cognitive accessibility, inclusion, language, easy to read, and also facile of all the stats in test. We are doing this research inside of a research line that is called Inclusive and Applied Artificial Intelligence, Improving Cognitive Accessibility, in which we are using artificial intelligence, we are including people with cognitive disabilities and also experts in our research, and we would like to make something that helps people at the end. ATECA has two different functionalities. The first one is analyzing the test in order to see if the test is applying or is using the easy-to-read methodology, and the tool provides a kind of report for the final user. The second functionality refers to providing suggestions to the adapter, to the expert in the easy-to-read methodology, in order to provide the test according to the methodology. So in this kind of suggestions, we explain why this specific adaptation, a specific element is changed in the test. So this is all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you would like to collaborate with us, we are very happy with this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's really a great pleasure to be here. I'm grateful for the honor of being here. I want to take you through one user journey. There is a family, they have a child who cannot use their legs. The child is moving around by crawling on their elbows and knees. The family needs a wheelchair. No such wheelchair is available at a affordable rate. A team of students comes together, creates the wheelchair for the child, and then that wheelchair is being delivered to the child. Some people think that this is a product innovation. In fact, what we're looking at is some sort of an innovation in the process, because we're dealing in a situation where on one hand there is a very niche need, and on the other hand there are engineers and programmers and product designers that are willing to address the needs. So what we're talking about here is a process that engages the long tail of talent that exists out there. These are people who are willing to contribute their skills, and the long tail of needs, all these niche situations that require solutions. In order for that process to happen, we need to have a documentation of the product so that anybody can download it anywhere. So our system effectively allows needs to meet the talent that they need, the talent that can create them, document them, create a portfolio that is an online portfolio that anybody can download anywhere. The second thing is that once these products are out there, we have to find the manufacturing facilities that will manufacture them. And what we mean by that is that all over the world today, there is excess manufacturing capabilities. Almost every 3D printer bought in the last decade is underused. So we can actually crowdsource these manufacturing capabilities through what is called distributed manufacturing and distribute products all over the world. So our platform, and what you see here is the documentation system, is effectively this marketplace between talent and needs, between needs and the manufacturing capabilities. So where does AI come in? Number one, we need an AI interface to help find the solutions. Number 2, AI interface to support the use of the products. Third, AI support to support the translation of the digital product files to other languages. And fourth, AI support to deposit the innovations onto the cloud so that others can use them. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear. I think we can all have a collective sigh of relief, at least I have, that we are running a tight ship and we are on time, and also want to be considerate and maybe even get to a place where you can ask questions. Howard, I'm wondering if you could share any insights, questions, thoughts, reflections on what you've just heard.
Sure. First of all, the thing that strikes me is the diversity of ideas in these last three things. Three very different problems that need a different type of solution. So I think that the kind of key thing is actually trying to work out in each idea, how do you take that forward? How can we collectively as a panel help? How can everybody in this room help? And I've got a question for each of you. I'm going to go one by one if that is okay. So Jussi, I'm going to start with you. And maybe it's actually more of a question for Calvin in a sense. But what do you need to take that kind of device that helps people who obviously can't use a mouse forward? How can we help you get that to some kind of distribution to make sure it's more widely available?
Okay. Can you hear me? Closer.
Yes, a microphone. Yes, a microphone.
Okay. So the question was, how can we make our product shared between the users? So we are currently working hard to achieve a distribution networking all around the world, and we are collaborating also with accessibility organizations to try to find the correct channels and correct people who we can negotiate and get this our technology available for as many people as possible. So this is something that we are doing, or we are trying to utilize, of course, web, making a lot of videos and sharing those with our partners. So that's the way we want to connect with the people in need. Okay, thank you.
And then Marie, one for you. I'm a great believer in the power of communication, and simplicity of communication doesn't just apply to people who have cognitive challenges. I think it actually applies to all of us, because actually images are usually, for most people, easier to understand and comprehend. So what's your longer term vision for your product? Where would you like to see it go next?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, indeed, we start this project, this research, thinking on people with cognitive disabilities, but now we are applying the same idea with children at the schools that need to have a simple test for learning the language, in this case the Spanish, and also we are working with migrants in Spain that needs to learn the language very quick because they need the language for the daily life. So we are in these ideas trying to expand the tool and the use of the tool in different contexts. Thank you.
And then, Gideon, I might have asked you this one on Monday actually in a private chat, obviously we've met before, but I'm super excited by the possibility of creating one universal set of data standards that helps large, slightly cumbersome organizations, maybe a bit like sometimes unintentionally my own, really translate what the great joy and prosperity of startups into the broader ecosystem. So what's your vision for how you democratize that sort of data collection standard?
So basically, we view ourselves as a global public good. meaning it's basically an infrastructural project. Just think about it, that there are thousands of solutions that people here are using that are half-cooked, quarter-cooked, three-quarters cooked, never really fully done, not shared with everybody. And there is a tremendous waste within countries, and there's also a huge opportunity to transfer knowledge from developed countries to developing countries, and also within countries. New York City and upstate New York is not the same thing. So basically, if you put everything on one platform, you equalize the playing field, equal access for anybody, anywhere. That's basically the vision, and that's why I believe it's infrastructural. You solve one, you really solve all in this situation, and the tools of AI enhance the access to the engineering and design power, accelerate the design process, make a design that was written in English available to any other language around the world, and most important, not as important, it actually supports the deposit of these innovations, uploading them so that then they can be used. So effectively, I just want to say, it's radical democratization. Radical democratization. I said in an earlier panel, the entry point to our project is relinquishing intellectual property and depositing it in the public domain. Separate thought, I think that IP in our space is really a huge barrier for our community. But if you want to be part of our movement, you relinquish the IP, you deposit it in the public domain, and then we can orchestrate dozens of contributions that are required to create a single product. And that's what we're able to do. But the barrier, the entry point is give up the intellectual property.
Thank you so much. We're going to switch out for our final set of panelists, and I just want to thank you very much, and especially for being so fluid and flexible. Also, thank you to our panelists. Thank you. While they're switching out, I wanted to share something maybe that you can all identify with. And I was reminded of it recently. I have an anxiety attack about once a month, and Andrew Morgan over there gets a call from me. And I am constantly thinking, in the world of AI, are we pushing things too far? And at the same time, because we design for such severe communication and mobility disorders that it provides a solution and a blueprint for the maximum number. And at the same time, I wake up in a sweat and I think, are we doing enough fast enough? And I think somewhere in that tension, hopefully you can all identify with that, is maybe what makes us an entrepreneur. And hopefully where our stories resonate, we find some strength in this community. And I hope as you go out, you do what I did, or continue to do what you've been doing, which is find someone to connect with, consider collaboration, build your community out. And are we ready? Awesome.
Hello everyone, my name is Mehdi. I'm the founder of Deaf AI that offers AI-based solution for more accessibility feature in public transportation. The reason is that many deaf people don't have equal access to the transit information in many transportation hubs. A deaf lady at the airport, she didn't have equal access to the gate changes, and miscommunication happened between her and gate operators, and police officers were involved, misbehaved her to such an extent. She got her arm broken and booked to the jail for 3 days with broken arm. All of this happened to her because she didn't have equal access to the information. There are some facts about sign languages. As we're based in Canada, we have at least 2 official sign languages because there is no universal sign language. One of those is American Sign Language. That is not English. Both have a different linguistic structures. And that's the reason English is not considered the first language of deaf people. When it comes to the AI, we cannot replace interpreters with AI. Sign languages are very complex. These are expressive languages. This is our vision to develop digital twin and step into some markets that human-based services are not fully functional. We develop our model with universities and we would be able with this model to make public buildings and public life more accessible. One of those areas is public transportation. We would be able to create this technology for public transportation to translate to translate stop announcement and transit information into American Sign Language, and then we can put those buses around the deaf schools. The same concept for boarding announcement when the boarding starts at the gate. Deaf passengers have equal access to the information. We have a team diverse from academia, government, and deaf community. This is our team, diverse people with a different background to help us to create this technology. We usually ask for any collaboration with the government bodies and mentorship, those that they have a collaboration working with governments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I need to bring that down a bit. So I'm Nick Gompertz. I am a former NHS doctor for 30 years, and I'm putting in an earphone because wouldn't it be great if you could control everything with your ear, as our colleague also said. Ear switch is providing control from your ear. If I can get this to change, where am I supposed to be looking? Nope, forward. Okay, fine. So basically, as an NHS doctor, I wanted to help people communicate. I had an idea 30 years ago of actually using your ear as a switch to allow you hands-free control. Everyone wants hands-free control. Skip a track, answer a phone, start your GoPro. But what about if your only control is from your ear? Jonathan Bryan in this picture, age 13, wrote a book with his eyes looking at physical letters stuck onto a Perspex spelling board. I felt that wasn't good enough and technology needed to solve that. You can move a muscle in your ear, behind your eardrum. We can visibly see that movement with a camera in your ear, small enough to go into any earphone. We want that in everyone's devices so that the big tech companies produce this into every single smart earphone. So not only do you have the benefit to actually skip a track, those people who can't communicate have a benefit of actually being able to type like Stephen Hawking did. We're just in clinical trials at the moment with the ear switch, which is a fairly bulky unit at the moment. We're attached to it bed frames or wheelchairs to give people with motor neuron disease a chance of communication. We really want to progress that further by putting that into everyone's smart earphones. And we want to enhance everyone's access to communication and control, not just for communication, but also for controlling their environment, controlling the wheelchair, controlling their homes. So we want to work with people to help us. We've been well supported by the NHS and the National Institute for Health Research for up till now, but now that we've run out of grants. And we need corporates who will take this forward. And I'm going to be slightly contentious. Sometimes we don't need machine learning or artificial intelligence. We need real intelligence and real contact. And this is not, there's no artificial intelligence in this. However, it gives you access to bring artificial intelligence into great solutions like Smartbox. So we'd love to work with lots of people. Thank you.
Xerocon 25, come on, yay! And thank you very much as well to LaVonne Roberts for corralling us, keeping us in line. Please. So I'm Matthew Kershaw, I'm the VP Strategy at DID, and we are the top platform for the creation of digital human avatars, the most advanced and secure product on the market. This is my grandfather, Harry Kershaw, and I was unable to ever have a conversation with him because he had a stroke, he had aphasia, and was unable to speak. It was stolen away from him. And actually, tens of millions of people have this issue around the world, around speech and communication disorders, thanks to ALS, strokes, Parkinson's, other issues. And it's a barrier, not just a communication challenge, but a barrier to how they work, their relationships and just their everyday life. And We think that one solution to that is DID's AI-powered digital humans. They give you not just voice, but they also give you expression, nuance, identity. They are represent who you are in an authentic and accessible way to communicate. I'm going to show you a video now to show you how that works. This is of a TV journalist. And obviously, if you're a TV journalist, your voice is literally your life, your livelihood. And this particular journalist, Moshi, was losing his voice, and AI and particularly DID's technology have helped him keep it. You'll see before and after how he speaks now with ALS and how we were able to create a broadcast for him. We're going to need some volume on this, if possible. I'm going to go back, play that again. Apologies.
אני מדווח הבוקר על פתיחת חקירה כנגד ארגון הפשיעה המוכר כמשפחה בחשד למעורבות בעסקאות סחיטה באיומים באזור המרכז.
So study after study has shown that the face is a vital part of communication for expressing emotions and maintaining relationships, and we want to give away our technology to those who rely on it in partnership with people like the Scott Morgan Foundation and also a recent partnership we just announced with Microsoft. So if you're in the assistive technology team for a company that shares our vision, please let's give millions of people something truly life-changing, their voice back. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Calvin, I wonder if you could give us your thoughts, reflections, any questions you have?
Yeah, first I'll start with the thoughts and reflection, which is it had to be incredibly difficult to get through a presentation in that time frame and share all the information that you want to share, so I applaud you all for doing that. Matthew, while it's fresh and you just presented, you gave us a great example and a great video. Could you elaborate a little bit on how this helps with human connection?
Yeah, so if you're unable to talk, there are ways you can do it. You can have these, use some of the input tools that you've seen today and generate text, and from text you can even generate audio. But it's just audio. It doesn't give you that full expression. It doesn't show your face, and the face is such an important part of communication. It's one of the reasons we're today here at a conference and talking face to face, rather than just texting each other, or just sending each other audio. So that's why I think having the face involved just gives it that extra dimension that's so critical to great communication.
Thank you for that. Nick, maybe I can thank you again, Matt, for that. Nick, maybe I can move to you. I was trying to capture while you were speaking, but there was a chart where you said enhancing the way everyone, I think, connects or communicates. I was wondering if you could elaborate maybe what are the possible uses for the general populations and how do you scale?
Sure, thank you. So 55% of people know already that they can move the muscle behind the eardrum. It's called ear rumbling. There's 104,000 ear rumblers on a Reddit subcommunity who talk about this useless superpower. It's not useless, it's extremely useful. But we know that the majority of people can identify this muscle contracting when they yawn. So if you notice when you yawn, you don't hear as well, or you get muffling in your ears. We know it's trainable. But the other thing is your eardrums actually move physiologically with eye movement. So when you look to your left eardrum moves in. When you look to your right eardrum moves in. And when you look up and down, you get a different movement. So now we potentially have the computer mouse in your ear. So we believe in the future your earbuds will be your computer mouse, so particularly with AR control. So I think as per most great technologies, they start off addressing an assistive technology need like texting, and then we all adapt it. And we believe that actually this is a paradigm for change. But if we can get this facility into everyone's smart earphones, then those who need to use it for assistive technology can automatically use it for that as well.
Thank you, Nick. Mehdi, maybe I can move to you. I saw in your presentation the various locations and places, your public spaces. Can you talk a little bit more how you do the testing for a variety of different people in a variety of different spaces for the product?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely this is type of technology that is kind of co-development. We're going to develop it with community, definitely deaf community, and we try to incorporate their culture from the idea to the final product. And that's kind of something that we work with the local government. So public transportation is an area that we would be able to step in because we have a control on a type of communications. So I got asked, for example, for healthcare, but healthcare sector has a liability and the type of range of the communication is so broad. But as compared with public transportation system, so we would be able to focus on transit information, delays, cancellations. So it's something that we would be able to manage and control it with AI.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So I want to thank everyone for being flexible as we went through this, and it looks like we have a few minutes. And I just want to take this last moment to say what a privilege it is to be up here with you gentlemen on my panel and every single person that pitched. And I want to pass on something that happened to me last year, which is Anthony, the MC, when he was on this stage, said, if anyone wants to be on this stage, come and talk to me. I'm one of those people that came and talked to him. So I hope every single one of you take away something from this and find it inspirational and realize hopefully some empowerment and excitement, make new friends and keep doing what you're doing, which is extraordinary. Thank you so much.